it was a defeat, no bonus point. But what a defensive action that was.
Yeah, it's probably the one thing that was celebrated above all else this week, amongst a myriad of things that we look to improve upon, Chris. And there was a lot: penalty count, inaccuracies, poor execution, all these things that you have to be consistent against any team, not just against the best team, or currently the champions. And that's how we reviewed it. That's how we reviewed it, Chris. Just like, let's be honest here. I think there was 15 execution errors in the first half, 9 within system, 9 penalties in the first half, and 6 which were inexcusable. So that just allows a team too much opportunity, regardless of how well they defended.
Do you just take the horrendous weather out of the equation and take it back to just individual decisions and errors, or do you factor that in? It was such a horrendous evening.
I guess there's some leeway for, like I say, accuracy and execution with the weather, but it was the same for them, and they still managed to score 4 tries and some on transition. You can suffer a drop pass or a missed kick-off or a line-out call that went wrong. Like, these things are part and parcel of the game. Like, no one operates at 100% at any of those aspects of play. But when it's 3 or 4 knock-ons, 3 or 4 line-outs, 3 kick-offs in the first half, plus penalties to boot, it's too much. So, like I say, we've got to marry up the physical intent, the defensive brilliance with accuracy and better discipline.
Obviously, Byron is in charge of defence. There was reports in the week that England want him. Is that something that is going to happen? Is it going to be part-time? Do you welcome that, or do you not welcome that?
I welcome every player and coach, and I support and encourage their pathway for who they want to be and, achieving what they can in the sport. And it's the same with Byron. Like, he is an international coach in the making. Like, he's going to get there, I'm sure of it. There's always a question of timing, what's best for us, isn't there, Chris? And what we want, and we feel like we've brought on a player here, helped him develop as a coach, and this is probably, at this point in time, the best place for him, having only been in the top job for a year and a half. So, that's my advice to Byron, and it's been my advice to England when he went on tour, because you can always kind of foresee where a successful tour could lead to. But as it stands right now, there's nothing on the table, Chris, and he's very happy where he is. If that changes in the future, and as soon as it does, we'll let you know. But at the moment, we've got one aim, and that's to win the Prem and go far in Europe.
So, you talked to Steve about players. Have you talked to Steve specifically about Byron?
Yeah, specifically, yeah, but not in specific detail. Like, we've talked about Byron and what his future could look like, and keeping him in the country, and where, how well he did on tour, and where he can add, and all those things. Because you do, don't you? I want feedback from players and our coaches and our physio. Like, Navdeep Shandhu went on tour as well, back end of the tour. We've had 2 under-20s coaches approached by England as well. Our senior ACAD coaches. So, and this happens when you find like you're creating a good coaching setup, when your high-performance team is functioning. Higher accolades come. So in both instances, there's nothing concrete on the table for them to take the step to international level. That is Navdeep or Byron.
Yeah, so your hope would be that nothing happens in the lead up to the Six Nations that changes that then, because obviously you want to concentrate purely on your campaign in Europe.
That'll be my hope, Chris, yeah. I hope for a lot of things, and what I find I have to do is make do with what I've got. You know what I hope? I hope that at some point he does go and coach England, because like I say, it's what he wants ultimately at the end of time, but making sure that's the right opportunity. I think that's at the right time, because all that glitters is not gold. We've seen people go to international setups from here and have a terrible time of it. So there's always that to factor in as well.
Absolutely. Ben and his hamstring, Curry?
Yeah, not great. Nothing new. It's still around the suture site, but it's still consistently irritating and affecting his preparation. So we are in talks about what can be done for a longer term fix rather than just going week to week. That clearly at the moment's not working for him.
So are you going to have to just sit him out for a bit now just to try and hopefully settle down?
Well, that's one option. It's like sit him out, it'll settle down, but we've been down that road before as well, Chris, and still it reoccurs. So that's one option, and in the specialist's experience, like this has only happened twice, and all the operations that he's done in this area, it's only happened twice ever, and this is a guy called Faris, I forget his second name, but he's done a gazillion of them. Britain's leading surgeon, and in these 2 times it's happened, one of them in explaining that it probably can't do a lot more harm to your hamstring, but it's very uncomfortable and can you train through it, just got on with it. And another person had the suture snipped off 6 weeks out and then got on with it. So both ways there's a solution. We're just trying to figure out what the best thing is for Ben.
So it's called, I'm not very medically trained, but a suture, the hamstring, there's something in the hamstring which is...
A stitch.
Damp.
Nothing's damaged. So he had the hamstring up, reattached it to the bone, and the suture being a stitch, and the hamstring's all healed. Yeah, so the suture, it's my northern dialect, that's irritating the tendons or something like that in and around it.
Right. So
suture site.
Is he going to see? Are you taking him to see a specialist? Has he gone to see a specialist? What is the current situation?
Yeah, he's second time since coming back from tour. He's seen the specialist. England physios have been up. We're all over it. Multiple scans. There's been a lot being done to try and to figure out what the best solution is. I can't give you the answer. We haven't made the decision and got all the cards on the table.
Yes. Right. But I assume then, from my limited knowledge, that is surgery another option then?
That's one or two options. So one is he just plays through, we manage it as you've suggested. The other, he gets the suture site nipped out, minimal disruption to the hamstring, which is fine, so it won't affect. It's not another procedure, another operation. It's a clean up from the last one.
Yeah.
But that's 12 days of stitches. It's another week off feet and perhaps 2 or 3 weeks getting back to fitness. In reality, it's 6 weeks.
In total, 6 weeks in total.
Well, it will be, back to full fitness. Yeah.
And so, but obviously, Ben's hugely important to you and increasingly to England. Timing is going to be absolutely critical, won't it? With November coming, then you've got February, that tranche of internationals, and you've got your Europeans. So it's a dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah, look, he's enhanced EPS. So, really selfishly, and they haven't been selfish, England, around these enhanced EPS. They've always kind of done what's right for club and country, and I'd tried to get a compromise. But given what we've said, they might want to push him through the internationals. Then he gets his operation. He'll be 6 weeks out over Christmas, and he'll come back with 5 or 6 weeks into the Six Nations. That's best thing for country if he's just focused on playing for country. Best thing for club is probably that he could play a couple and he gets his operation done over the autumn internationals. Do you see what I mean? And then we have him for the stretch after. And this is why I can't give you an answer, because there's still a lot of communication around what's the best thing for Ben. Ultimately, it should be about him, for his health, for his mental, what he wants, and how we can hopefully serve both masters.
And just on another subject, back rows, Dan Dupree, are we likely to see Dan?
You are, but not this weekend. I'll give you that one. Very close, yeah, he's getting there. He's back running again now.
And I know you love these sort of questions, but the remaining Duprees, as in where they will be next year?
Oh, you tell me, what's the rumours circulating,
Well,
the journalist bits?
Well.
There's rumours Dan's going to France.
Yes, and you know they've been around for a while.
I don't know. No, that's because everyone got JL and Dan mixed up, surely. Like, they do look similar. And look, all good players at this time of the year are getting offers, overtures from everywhere. They are, aren't they? Because now you can talk to them a year before the contract runs out. And I haven't directly been told that there's someone headhunting Dan. I wouldn't be surprised if there is. You know, when there's brother going as well. You've got to. I've got to get my head around the fact that these lads have been incredibly loyal to us, to this club, and all that they've given, and I'm so grateful for that, Chris. But it's not the home. You know, Manchester isn't the home, and they've got young families with futures to look forward to and a life that they want to live right now as well. So I get all that as well, as much as it hurts when these guys are receiving overtures from foreign clubs. For these kind of players, not transient, because they've shown that they're very loyal to this club, but still, this is probably a last contract for the Duprees in some sense, a last real big financial contract and life experience. So yeah, if it did come, I couldn't say, look, what you're doing, leaving everything that you're about and where you're from. It's not. It's just part of what they've built here. So I'm a little bit, I'm better with it than where I was in the past. I haven't been
for
told.
me, before, as I've dominated this,
You have.
I saw Chandler Cunningham South playing on Saturday, Leicester.
I
Very
did it.
impressive.
Was he?
Any chats taking place?
No, there's not. I know. This is what I mean. I might as well ask you guys what the rumours are. I haven't spoken to him.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking all those questions.
The lads do. They're in tour and stuff. They're on trips and they talk about it and stuff. Because this is the movement, isn't it? If as a Dan was to go, then who could come in there and fill his shoes, or at least, and Chandler's one of them in the list. So as Dan's receiving overtures, we have to feather our nest also. But in that sense, there's been no formal conversation. There's been no phone calls from my part with Chandler.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Alex.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Hi, Alex. I'll jump in, mate, if that's okay.
Yeah, you've got to get in quick, especially as Chris has used up 2/3 of the time.
First of all, I've got to ask you about, of course, the tragic news this week about Lewis
Oh.
Mooney. I just wanted to give you the chance to give your thoughts on it.
It's just horrendous, isn't it? Like the inevitability of a friend actually passing away in the not too distant future. It's brutal. I was chatting to Ali Eakin today about it, and such high-profile players, isn't there, in our sport that they've got the disease. It brings a lot of things to light, I guess. Not about the sport in general, but just about the unfairness of terminal diseases, and then how you cope with them, and how he's front-footed that's just him. That's how he would, wouldn't it? Like he'd front-foot everything else. I am deeply upset for him. You know, not grieving right now, but it's a feeling like that. I'm sorry for his family, and whatever way we can support him as a sport, not just as an individual, we'll do. I'm sure we'll do. So yeah. No.
I think you've kind of alluded to there, Alex. Like Will Greenwood, he's of course amongst the tributes. Tributes may be the wrong word, but says that Lewis will fight it with every ounce of his strength. I mean, that's the attitude I presume you'll see as well in terms of such an incredible figure and battling such a terrible situation.
Yeah, it might even come to light what he's been doing post rugby, which is a lot of kind of charitable work and explorative work. We've worked with some of the same guys from Special Forces, and he's been all around the world doing treks and all that kind of stuff. And that's that's the kind of guy. He's like full on, fully into stuff, and that's that's the brutal nature of this disease. It takes all that away from you, doesn't it? Until there's just the mind left. Yes. Look, I haven't really processed it. I saw it yesterday, and me and Nobby, because obviously Nobby played with him, Dorian West, and we had a little chat, and he was really good. So I'm looking after him, and then you mentioned it today, and it kind of, not only do you drag the whole tone of the interview down, Christopher, but you bring it back to light, don't you? And it's like I said last year, when things are really shit off the field, you use the environment, you use your club, you use your mates to get you back on track. But it's in the moments where you have to reflect like this that it brings it home.
No, I really appreciate the honesty there, Alex. Thank you for obviously approaching such a difficult situation on that. On yourselves in terms of on the pitch, I guess, I know you alluded to it earlier, but you really called for better discipline after the Bath game. What have you done this week to really hammer that home and enforce that on the squad?
Well, first we haven't brushed it under the carpet. We didn't, just lean into the weather or the occasion or even, the ref. Like, all these things affect discipline. We looked at our actions that we could control, looked at the significance and the consequence of them, and you tried to educate the players, not through the stick, but like, do you understand what the choices you're making or the decisions that you're making, and some of these like small margins of could you rolled out a little bit quicker, context of game, the last couple of rucks that we're hitting that led to penalties and ultimately a yellow card, have a dramatic effect. These seemingly kind of small actions have a dramatic effect on the end result. So it's just by ways of education really, but also putting it at the forefront of our improvement right at the start of the team review on Monday. You've gone there, Chris. You've turned your mute off.
You're muted, Christopher.
Sorry, I'm back. So we're on Newcastle. What did you make of Steve Diamond's departure last week?
Sudden. I know he was signed on till kind of Christmas, wasn't he, or the end of the year. It's difficult to do a job. I imagine that you know that you're going to have to hand over at some point. But I'm sure he would have been up for leaving the place in a better state than when he came, and he has done that. I get that, but just it felt like on the back of that one home loss that he was out in his ear, and they've left a lot for Alan Dickens to do.
And for yourselves going into obviously the game, there's no denying that you are big favourites, but how important is it to combine professionalism with the opportunity to potentially rack up a big score?
Well, I think those two things help, don't they? Like, professionalism should lead to a big score. I think you're assuming that just professionalism alone will get you the big score is where you can come hugely unstuck. Potentially, you can embarrass yourself through your standards and the performance not being where it should be at. What I've seen and what we know from Newcastle traditionally, but also last couple of games, is that they're very physical. Like, there's no lack of commitment there. They've got some of the highest collision dominant stats both sides of the ball, and they've got some good players coming into the squad as they will during the course of the season. So in that sense, you've got to be prepared to take the bull by the horns. Ba-boom. Marry that physicality up with the discipline. That's where professionalism comes in, like going back to your original point. Like, if you can't be that physical, but be disciplined with the ball, be disciplined post-collision without it, because that's what can let teams in away from home, like as we've shown like last week, that's what can let teams in away from home who actually pride themselves on that physical aspect of the game. So professionalism this weekend is right, we'll take them on, but we're going to be more disciplined than you in all aspects.
That's all from me. Thanks, Alex.
Cheers, Chris.
Hi, Alex.
How you
doing? Did you have any other injury updates for us? Just wondering if anything beside what we already discussed.
Yeah, so Ben's up in the air. Marius Lowe, as you saw, coming in late at the start to the season, but came through real well. Carps were just managing a little bit of a jarred knee, but he got through training today, looks good. Wilgriff John being cited for some of that ill-discipline back end of the game, that's pending today. Dickey is up for selection, so you can make your own conclusions whether or not we pick a British Lion hooker in the squad. Everyone else, good to go. You know the rest, don't you? Know Tom. Tom's not there till autumn, so we're about as strong as we can be, aside from the people you know.
Thank you very much.
That was quick, Luke. That was sharp. Brendan, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Are you away? Are you doing this abroad?
I'm living abroad now, living in Spain.
Yeah, that would explain it, wouldn't it? It looks very Hispanic where you're at, with your girlfriend's underwear drying in the background, or whatever it is.
How's everything with you?
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying. I don't enjoy losing. I love the turn, Brendan. I love when you got to come in and you got to make it right. I love that part of it. It's a glutton for punishment in that sense. I'm enjoying that. I'm liking working with the new coaches. Relatively, we just talked about Lewis, then you put things in perspective. I'm fucking great, mate, with all things taken into account.
Yeah, no, I get that. I was actually going to ask you, moving past that, about Newcastle, in terms of, I know you were talking about your expectation of professionalism and all that, but talking more about your squad in terms of your players, what are you expecting from your players? Who are you expecting to stand up and make it count? And who do you want to see put a performance on the pitch for you?
I want our best players. I want our best players to bar up, and this is a really good test for consistency. We've talked about this in the past. If you're driven by external motivating factors, like the gravitas of the game, or the size of the game, or the level of competition that spikes, that puts that bit of fear in you, then you're always going to ebb and flow with those external factors. But the best players, and we'll see who those guys are on Friday night, are the ones that are driven internally, not from the challenge of who comes or the size of the game, because it matters to them personally, individually. So, I know, I'm going to say it now, I know George Ford, if selected, is going to have a great game because of what drives him, day to day. And I want to see that from all our big players, and that'll show them that, show me at least, that we're doing something right with them. They're internally driven and they want to go and front up for the club. Yeah, so I want them to share. And the young lads will follow them. Some of those young lads we've got in, they'll follow those lads. They're leading the charge.
Yeah, that was the only thing I considered. Everything else has been asked already.
Yeah.
So, look, I appreciate you taking the time to answer me, and as you say, I'm glad everything's well with you in comparison. So,
Are you all right, Brendan? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm grand. Struggling to learn Spanish after being here for 2 weeks.
So it's this new, is it? You just got out there?
Just got out there, just getting everything together, yeah.
You'll catch the lingo, mate. I'm sure you will. Good luck with it. Good luck with the move. I'm sure it's a bit stressy, just 2 weeks in. Must feel like a bit of a holiday still.
Yeah, missing all the Premiership action, obviously, back home, but what can you say?
He gets TNT out there.
Don't believe so, but I'll keep quiet on how I'm managing.
All right, okay. You just got to get the game sent to you. You can get them sent to you, couldn't you? You get them wide to you, we transferred or whatever. You've got to get in with the clubs. You've got to get in with the IT guys of the clubs. Opta can send them generally. There you go.
I'll look into it. I'll
There
get
you
it
go.
sorted.
No problem. You're welcome. Are we done there, Paul? Have you got anything to ask?
Hi, Alex. Just one from me. It's a subject that you're well used to. George Ford.
Yeah.
You go back to last season, he was sort of third in the England pecking order, and now he seems to be regarded as sort of back to number one. I mean, what is it about him that he just keeps going?
Isn't that an easy question to answer? If you can bottle a bit of George Ford, you'd be able to sell that in Waitrose, wouldn't you? On the truckload.
At their prices as well.
I am really, really fortunate, Paul, because I get to call him up on Sundays and day offs when we're trying to shape the week to come or reflect on the training week that we've just had. So I get these conversations that a lot of people probably wouldn't want to, or not, well, would want to have, but never feel like they could. It's a privilege of my position, I guess. And because I've been privy to them over the last few years, I thought that the lads need to hear some of this. They need to get a little bit of George Ford gold dust. So we did a Q&A for the boys in Portugal on our pre-season trip. I'm like, if we're talking about just what the question you asked, in like consistency, competitiveness, willing and drive and wanting desire to improve, despite your age, and through adversity, which is what he's gone through. That's the journey that we've looked. I looked at what he's done. Youngest player ever, most points scored ever in the Premiership. Played in a World Cup final. Won a couple of Prems. Got into another, but then also got dropped from 2 World Cup squads, which he got into the final stages. Lost more finals than he's won. Suffered a career-threatening injury just 2 years ago, and then was unfit for autumn, wasn't selected for the Six Nations, lost out on a Lions tour. So this is a season but probably George had every excuse not to be motivated or get better this last season, and yet, as you've said, he's gone from third to first choice, despite what I've just mentioned, like not getting picked, not getting backed, and still he gets better. And then the Lions tour thing, and still he gets better over the summer. Like, how? You ask him, boys. And part of it's his absolute robustness and what's driving him. So a lot of people find it difficult, don't they? Like, what gets you out of bed? What motivates you? And I guess the older you are, the more reflections that you have, the more certain that you are. But not many people in this environment, I would say, 20 to 30, really have it nailed. And he does. It's these two things. It's 2 things that drive him. And he was very explicit around what those 2 things were. So an absolute certainty of what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's not for me to say that. It's for him. You can ask him in a conversation. There's that. There's his application every day as to what he wants to get out of training. And through that, he journals the night before. He writes affirmations. He walks into a session. We talk about either spectating or dominating a session. Spectating, you're watching like the plays unfold and you're looking inward, you're not really communicating, you're certainly not listening, you're probably walking, not running. The other side of that is like you're totally into it. It's run first mentality. It's like think next phase. You have communication you can't ignore. You're proactive. And there's 2 ends of the spectrum there. If you're somewhere in between, if sometimes you're dominating, but sometimes you're spectating, then you're participating. So his aim is to dominate every session. And he ticks that off day to day. Like not week to week. Don't go from performance to performance. Like every day he comes in, he knows what he's going to get out of it, and he ticks it off. He's the most consistent at doing that.